see is the file types. Now, what is file types? See, like I told you when we started off, right, that we store it in Excel workbooks. Okay, we call this files as Excel workbook, and we have versions of it. We have 2013, 2016, and 2019, right? So when you save a file in a latest version, which is 2013 and above, you store it in an XLSX format. Okay, you store it in XLSX format. So if I go in and I try to save it, let's see what all the file types and which I can store my file. Okay, the Excel file. The first which I told you is an Excel workbook. Okay, which is XLSX format. Okay. Now, if you wanted to store your file in a version which is, a file which can be opened by previous versions of Excel. Okay. So I get XLS and XLS. Let's see. 90 Microsoft Excel 5.0 95 workbook which stores XLS format. Now, when you store a file in XLS format, remember few of the formatting options like the new ones which were introduced in XLSX will not be available in the older versions. So you might lose some of the formattings which you have done in your workbook, like colors or some other formats, some shapes and all which were not available earlier. Those will not be available. You will lose them. Okay, that is XLSX workbook and XLS difference. Okay, XLS is here. Now, and there are many types of files. Okay, and some are used by developers, some are used by business people. There are many types of roles, and they use different types of file types. I'll just take you to the most important ones. Okay, next we have Excel macro enabled workbook. Okay, now what is a macro enabled workbook? You have a program which macro is nothing but the step by step instructions which is given to Excel to do a particular work. Okay, now this instructions you can either record or you can write it in a program which is called VB. Okay, in VB language you can write the macro program. So if you are having such workbook or you have made a macro program, you can't store it in XLSX format. For that, you need to store it in XLSM format. Okay, XLSM format, there is no difference as such with other functions. The only thing is it can store macro enabled workbook. It's an additional thing. Okay. Next, XLSB format. Okay, so it is a binary workbook format which takes comparatively less space than XLSX file. Okay. Next thing which you should know is about the CSV and the TSV format. Okay, so one you see here is we have CSV and you should have a TSV as well. Mm, Okay, not TSV. Some places we have TSV, but here it is TXT format, which is tab delimited. So one is CSV, which is comma delimited, and one is tab delimited. So it's basically a data where you can store your data only one sheet of data basically, and the columns are separated by a column. Okay, sorry, a comma. Okay, and in tab delimited, the columns are separated by a tab, the tab in your keyboard, right? So by that it's separated. Now, why do we have this kind of formats available for us? See, when you have big data, okay, like for example of not thousand, even some 1 lakh rows or something like that, okay, and many columns, sharing such kind of files become very difficult. Okay, because the data is very huge. So in that case what we do is we um when we have such data, we save them in txt format. Now remember, whenever we are storing something in txt or csv format, no formatting or no formulas are saved. Okay, in because they're just stored as a text. How a txt file is, right? There's nothing, only text can be stored, comma, plus, minus, all this can be stored. And only text, there is no formulas which we can store there. There is no formatting information I can store there. So if you have done any coloring and all, nothing can be there. Okay, and only one sheet of data per file, per txt file or per csv file, one sheet of data can be stored, because as you know, a notepad can't have multiple sheets like Excel, right? So txt and csv format works in that way. It is very okay, it is very small, very convenient way to share your data. It makes your file size very, very small. Okay, so this was about the file types. One last file type I would tell you is the PDF format. So you know PDF, right? It is an Excel workbook. Okay, so if you want, you can store this file in an PDF format and you can share it. So why do people store it in PDF format generally? If they don't want others to change the data, okay, because in PDF is generally not editable. It is editable but not generally. So we store data in the PDF format in that case. Hmm. Okay. So now you know the file types. Acha, one more thing. For a PDF, you can also use export. Okay. From export also you can take PDF. Okay. You can do it. Okay. Uh. So these were the file types. Okay. Now